Hey, everybody, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, we can.
Just a reminder that this is recorded and posted on YouTube. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to add everyone's names here who's joining the call. If you want to add your name, that'd be helpful too. All right. Welcome to the Porter Community Meeting for April 21st, 2022. I'm Carolyn Van Slyke, and today is mostly just status updates and kind of giving you a heads up of where we are with the V1 milestone. The first thing I wanted to talk about is actually with Yingrong. Would you like to go over the changes for storing sensitive data and kind of where we are with that feature?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm Yingrong. I'm working on the storing sensitive data into a secret store feature. Currently, all the sensitive data, such as sensitive parameter value or output values that that is stored in the claim store, which is Porter's database, and that that causes some security concern. So, for example, if Porter's database got compromised somehow, those sensitive value would be leaked. So, in order to offset that responsibility or make it more secure, we decided to move all those sensitive data to be stored into a secret store, just like how credential set works right now, is that all the data wouldn't be stored in the Porter database. And a user is, if they want to try out Porter and with sensitive data, they're required to set up a secret store. By default, we wouldn't provide a building secret stores plugin. So no one will accidentally store sensitive data, but in plain text. Currently, the PR is almost there. We're just working on writing more tests and making sure that this feature works well with the existing ecosystem in Porter. And we are going to provide a file system-based secret plugin so that people can still try out Porter if they want to, or doing testing or development work locally, so they don't have to have a let's say Azure Key Vault or HashiCorp secret store to be able to test out Porter.
Does anyone have any questions about this new change to Porter that's coming up?
Just to clarify a couple things. So is there a way, and I just haven't ran into it yet, but to mark parameters or outputs as sensitive in like the installation YAML, and that's what we're keying off of, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay. So in a case where like I want to access a sensitive output, would I be able to tell Porter, I know this is a sensitive output, but I still want to see the output in plain text? The use case I'm thinking of is when Terraform introduced this thing where you can mark an output as sensitive, then if you had automation that, took Terraform output of a sensitive output and piped it into something else, then that broke all this automation. So will we have a way to override and just say, I consciously am going to expose this to, my standard output because that's what I really want to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I believe currently, I think currently, Caroline, correct me if I'm wrong. I think currently Porter does provide a way to unmask the sensitive output if user specifies it, then
yeah.
right. So that
So-
functionality should remain. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
If you do Porter installation output show,
Mhm.
and then the name of what you want, like my password,
Yep.
you will get the unredacted value.
Yeah, just
Okay,
just
so
making
this
sure that'll
is,
continue.
get the sensitive value. If you do, however, do something like Porter installation show, we redact.
Okay.
So when we're showing like tabular human format data, you're going to see it redacted. If you try to output it to JSON, or if you use show, which is output show, which is really intended for automation, it gives you the full value.
Excellent.
It's just that if you're a person sitting at the console, just innocently typing away just to look at the installation, we redact.
Sure.
Yeah.
Quick question. Will the Kubernetes plugin implement secret storage in Kubernetes secrets?
We haven't updated the plugins yet.
Right.
Okay.
But that's on the list. And that kind of leads us to the next part of our agenda here. Yingron, can you take notes for this part as I kind of chat with people about it? Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah.
We are making changes to the plugin protocol. Obviously, we now want plugins to be able to support saving to a secret store instead of just retrieving. So we're adding a create function, which is then going to require the existing plugins to be updated just to support create. But at the same time, we realize there's some other functionality we really would like to be able to support with plugins, specifically open telemetry and tracing, so that we can get a distributed trace through Porter into, right here, we're just working with trying to get it into a plugin so that we can see what the plugin is doing and identify performance and authentication problems and things like that. But eventually we're going to have telemetry that goes into the bundles themselves and the mix-ins, so we can really pinpoint where errors are occurring and what the code flow was that led to it. So that's going to essentially mean that all existing plugins after this change goes in will need to recompile and start passing context.context around. So unfortunately, it's kind of a disruptive change for all the plugins. We're going to work with all the plugin authors to make sure that they have what they need to kind of recompile and make that change. One other change we're making is that NetRPC doesn't support open telemetry. So this is kind of like more of a behind the scenes things, but Porter currently talks to plugins over NetRPC, and we're going to switch to gRPC. So kind of a big change, but hopefully we can do this all at once. So we only need to update the plugins once, and then we don't touch them, obviously, for the rest of the time through V1 and everything. If anyone has like a custom plugin that they need help with or have questions, I just kind of know about the public ones that have been published out there. Let me know and be happy to help make that change. And we'll provide a doc that just explains what the migration path is for a plugin, like what you need to do and how to recompile. The idea is this will probably go in alpha 20. We're on 19 right now. After we do that, we change the plugins and everything. And after we're finally storing secret data in a secret store, that's kind of our last change to the database model. So we'll finally be able to script out a data migration for everyone to get from 38 to the pre-release. And then we'll move into beta. So these are all kind of stacking on top of each other.
If you need a guinea pig, I'd be happy to do this for the Kubernetes plugin as soon as you're ready for it.
I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm working, I mean, as you know, I'm working like right now on it. And then hopefully by next week, I'll take you up on that offer and we can add create to the to the Kubernetes plugin.
Great.
Yeah.
What is the Porter workflow for invoking the plugin create? Because right now we do like Porter credentials. Will that basically how do we run this from the front end to have the plugin do a create?
Yeah, I think the user right now, I don't think there is a way for the user to use a Porter command to call the create method. I think for the credentials, when you do credential apply, it assumes the credential is already in the path that you specified in the secret store. The create right now is only used, for example, if you provide a parameter override using the --param flag on the command line, then that parameter is defined as sensitive in your bundle, then during the runtime, then Porter will call create on the secret store to store that. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's really all I had to talk about today. We're just kind of giving people a heads up that there's going to be additional changes to plugins, right? You're gonna have to upgrade your plugins after we finish getting this all through. And like I said, I'll put out release notes, kind of walking people through what needs to happen. In the meantime, if you build off of source, I just don't recommend building off of source right now. We're going to be merging things incrementally to the release v1 branch over the next week. And it may not be in a point where it's workable, you know? So I would just like hold off on using building from source until we get alpha 20 out. That'll have all these plugin changes finally brought together in a consumable format for everyone. Was there anything that anyone else wanted to talk about today or had questions or anything like that? Otherwise, we can just have a record meeting done in 15 minutes. I hear 6 votes for meeting over in 15 minutes. All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming. And we'll be in touch as all of these kind of disruptive changes for the plugins make their way into the release branch. Okay.
Just one real quick thing. There's a bug, and I can send you the issue, but a bug about the plugin.serve method that it would be great if we could sneak this into this.
I am fixing it right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I figured you were. I just wanted to.
Yeah,
to
I remember you told me about it before and it was in the back of my head. So as soon as I started touching the plugin code, I went in and fixed it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
Oh, that reminds me of one other thing. At the moment, the storage plugin can't run externally. So if you wrote an external means not stored in Porter's repository, like a third-party plugin, essentially. Just for storage, it's not working on the current build of Porter, being able to run it, and that'll also be fixed by this. Right now, Porter has some like short circuit logic. And if the plugin is defined in the repository itself, Porter runs it in process and it doesn't actually shell out to a separate plugin binary we're undoing that. All plugins will be treated the same, whether it's in the Porter repository itself or it's third party, which will make it much easier to support over time, but also we'll fix that bug. So I don't think Don's actually here. This affects Kinetica because they're writing a custom storage plugin. So I'll reach out to him and just make sure he's aware of that. But just want to let people know in case you have your own plugins you're supporting.
Yeah. And this is where like we removed the storage part of the Kubernetes plugin for the update moving forward, right? Based on some of this.
Dodge the
for
bullet.
the new storage model, right? So
yeah. All right. Is there any more questions before we call it a day?
You know, not a question, but just maybe let folks know we're actively adding in credential set and parameter set CRDs or custom resources into the operator right now. So Stephen and I have a semi-working version of that, and we're hoping to get a PR up pretty soon.
Oh, that's great. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like we've been a little stalled out on the operator, so it'll be wonderful to be finally moving forward and closing that really awkward gap.
Yeah, we'll keep it going. So
yeah, this is great. Good to hear. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming today, and I'll chat with you online. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for the update. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.